Oy'Nissh, millennial Jamaican name, food, and language. Hi again everyone, Oy'Nissh, and welcome to another Oy'Nissh vlog. Today, I'll be foraging for raspberry, or otherwise called Dizproí in Oy'Nissh language. It's translated as Dizproí. So I'll be foraging for raspberry or Dizproí along the innocent path. There are two sides to the path, and I'll have to cross over to the other side to where I'll be starting. So hopefully you'll be able to journey along with me as I forage for this nice seasonal organic produce. So thanks again for watching. Okay, so my journey starts at the very beginning of the trail. Well, not the actual innocent path trail. It starts further along that way, and I'll be heading just down there, but I start here just now. As you can see, we've got raspberries already ripe and good to go. Raspberries are full in season at this point, and as mentioned, in most cases the raspberries won't be as big as the ones in the supermarket, but this is sizable size for foraged raspberries, and some of them can be a bit more difficult to reach, and maybe because I'm tall it helps a lot, but it might not be easy for others. So I've got my container here and I've started collecting. The good thing with raspberries though, and I notice a difference between the raspberries and like cherries. Raspberries don't all come in to they don't all ripe at the same time, so that gives you a couple weeks of edible raspberries. I guess it's in a way the same way with cherries, but sometimes you can get a cherry tree wherein all the cherries ripe at the same time and do finish at the same time because the birds are at it. But with the raspberries, you might be in an area where there are many raspberries, but they're at different stages of ripeness, which means that there's a prolonged period to which you can forage for it. So that's handy. I think this is the case here. So let's see. So you've got, look at this one. Hopefully you can see it. So this one won't be ready for a week or so yet. This one will be ready by the end of this week, or maybe next few days. As you can see, different stages, which is helpful. So you can always come back. Other people can always be passing and get raspberries because they tend to ripe at different times, different days. So here I am off on the path to fruitfulness, literally. There are some others over on that side, but they are not, they can be reached, but someone would have to get a ladder and climb over, and I think it's a lot of hassle. But there are loads of raspberries, and it's quite common that each year those raspberries just feed the birds because no one is bothered to climb over and get it. But that's okay because I guess the birds have to be fed too. So here we've got some along this path. See what I'm saying? Loads of raspberries over on that side, and it's the birds that's getting them. So I guess the birds will be fed. So it's good to always to wear a long sleeve in this case, because of the stinging nettle. But just be mindful that there's a prickly bit on the raspberry branches, so just be careful when you, especially when you're putting your hand over the fence to reach it, if you're as tall as me. Okay. So there are different ways of accessing the raspberries, I guess. There are those that are pretty straightforward along the path somewhere, or just off the path. That is easy to reach. But there are others that are beyond fence or beyond trees or beyond bushes that most people don't bother to reach, because unless you get something to cut a path through the bushes, there's just some raspberries that won't be reached. And there's a bird looking at me. It's got worm in its mouth. Right. So right along here, and here we've got blackberries that will soon come into play in the next couple of weeks. And boy, when they do come into play, they do in abundance. So right along the path, there are always raspberries dotted all over, but sometimes you're fortunate to find a small region where there's a cluster of them, many of them, to that's easy to reach, and it makes the foraging experience a lot lighter. And just be mindful while walking along the path and foraging, to be mindful of the bikers, because it's quite early in the morning at the moment, so it's busy with people cycling by. So try not to get run over. Here we've got some. So foraging for berries is quite straightforward. You just need a container with a cover, a small one that's easy to carry around, and you just pick as you go along, and that's it. But it's also exercise, so that's why I love foraging. So some people would go to the gym, etc. Some people go jogging. I go foraging because I do get exercise and I get the fruits. Nice organic fruits. People always talk about organic stuff. Foraging does give you the best option. Okay, look at this one, this raspberry. Look how this is supermarket size generally. See? Hopefully you can see it. I don't know. Hopefully. Sometimes it's hard to adjust the camera while foraging, but here's another one. This one is a little smaller. So normally when I'm foraging for berries, I move around a lot because I don't try to take all the berries from one area. I take some and move along the path so that other foragers can have access to seasonal fruits. So we just pick a little here. Look at this one. This one is so juicy that it just fall off and pretty much crumble in my hands, which means that it's for tasting really than anything else. Okay, here is a nice little area to get some from. So the principle again is to take a little and move on to the next patch. So it means that someone else can pass and get some from this very spot. So I won't take all the available raspberries from here. I'll take some and leave some. I think it's just foraging etiquette. I always term it that way, foraging etiquette. So let's see if I can get some from the back. Okay. As you can see, there's still plenty to be had, but I leave the rest for other people. So that's it. And then I move on. Get a little from here too. Okay. The beauty about foraging during peak time, it's the options available. As you can see now, we start to come into an era where there are different bits. As I said, they're not as large as the ones you get in the supermarket, but in most cases they are sweet. Some of them, I guess, maybe half of what you forage for is as sweet as the ones you get in the supermarket. But during this time, it's now the second, third week. Today is the 18th of July. So we're talking about, I'm talking about the availability of raspberry during this time. It's peak time for raspberry, cherry, blackberry. They start to come into season already. But one have to note that it varies sometimes between foraged fruits and farm fruits. Because when people cultivate fruits, there's a lot more attention to details, and it makes the growing process quicker and more efficient. So like some farms in the UK will be producing blackberries already or even earlier, because there's a lot more attention to details in terms of the area in which plants get to grow, the berries get to grow, the soil type, the moisture in the soil, access to water, but also nutrients. In the wilds, these aren't optimum conditions for growing. They grow up haphazardly, and that means that they come in all shapes and sizes and taste. So that's the disadvantage, and people wouldn't be able to live off forage products because there's not a lot to go around if everybody started foraging. But I guess foraging for wild fruits can help in the sense that firstly it helps in helping people to get out of the house and exercise if they are not at work or so forth. Not just to go for a walk, especially during summer when the weather is nice like this, maybe on a Sunday, etc. Take the kids for a wee stroll and forage. Maybe it's a way of building the immune system too, because normally we are always told to wash our fruits before we eat it. But in the foraging world, people eat as they go along. You see, people with their kids foraging and they're eating straight along a path like this. They'll just be picking and eating. They don't really wash the stuff. And apparently, although I don't have any evidence for them, but for myself, I don't really get sick. I'm not saying when you're serving it to others, obviously you'd have to clean it. But I'm just saying in the foraging world, it's pick and eat in some cases. However, if you're talking about large amount, you get a container like this, you fill it, and then you take it home and wash it thoroughly, obviously. But I mean, a quick nibble here and there. People don't wash every single raspberry. I don't know. I guess maybe it's a way of building the immune system. So maybe foraging does help to build the immune system when you're picking and eating, but only in small quantities. I guess if you're talking about large quantities of forage stuff, it's recommended that they're all washed. Because then insects can be on it too, so that's the disadvantage. So yes, foraging does help with exercise, I think, but it also helped the kids to start to get used to the taste of organic stuff. Oh, golf ball. Or fruits. If you want to start your kids on fruits, take them foraging during summer. I know for many parents they struggle to get kids off what they call junk food or highly processed food and the biscuits and so forth, which I mean it's not bad occasionally, but when it's become the main snack base for kids, it's not the best. Foraging helps in this case because it helps kids to appreciate seasonality. That now it's berry season, you can get cherries, you can get berry, blackberry, raspberry, etc. And they come and they pick their own raspberries, get the container, pick some, take home and wash. Maybe along the foraging path, they'll be eating a little in the meantime, building the immune system, I guess. And they get to appreciate nature, appreciate seasonality, etc. But if it's the other option where they're always home on the mobile phone, playing video games, then there's a lot more risk of obesity because they're not out walking about. They're home snacking, playing video games on the phone, and most likely snacking on ice cream, biscuits, which are high in calorie. And because they're not moving a lot, that they tend to put on weight quickly. This helps to solve the problem because then they're eating stuff with low calories and they're exercising at the same time and fun time with the family, but also friends. You know, this is where now it's the school break, it's summer holiday. The kids, you know, friends can team up together and go foraging, you know, the schoolers. Apart from families, even school kids can team up together and go foraging for stuff. And, you know, it's a good day out too. Especially now in Scotland, the weather is nice. Yeah, so foraging have many advantages. As I said, it doesn't solve the food problem overall because you still need organized farming, the supply from organized farming. But foraging helps. It helps with exercise, help people get out of the house, maybe de-stress, help family to, you know, blend together, do family stuff together. It helps people get used to seasonality, seasonal produce, and the taste of organic food, but also help to appreciate what nature have to offer. So I guess in this case we'll take much more care of nature and our surroundings. Yeah. just be mindful that sometimes some of the raspberries aren't good, so you just have to use a discretion when you're foraging. Sometimes some of them have dry bits around the edges, and you just know that those ones aren't ideal for consumption. Other people forage for these stuff to make jam. So it might be that some of them are so tiny, can't be bothered to eat them, but some people use it to make jam. So that's another way of utilizing the seasonal fruits. Obviously, to get the best use, to make the best use of the fruit is to eat it natural, because you get all the nutrients unadulterated. So it's not a new concept that you get all the best nutrients by eating these things raw. Like some vegetables, you just eat it raw and you get the nutrients directly. But I'm talking about secondary uses of seasonal fruits. Apart from just eating it directly after washing, you can use it to make stuff, jams, sauces, combine with other products to make other stuff. So yeah, so the container is getting there. Yeah, let me move along to another. There's a little bit here that I could get to. So the foraging path has been made already by others, and I'm just making use of it. Sometimes I'm the one who have to make foraging path. As you can see, people have pretty much, I can tell that this area is quite busy. And I'm not the first one to be here, but yet there are still berries there, because it means that people have left berries there so others can forage for. And that's good foraging etiquette, I believe. So now, okay, so move on to another area. What is it like? Oh, that's another golf ball. What is it like foraging in your area, in your country? Do you have raspberries where you are? What is it like? And when does your raspberry come into play? Is it during summer as it is in the northern hemisphere? What time during the year is it during the southern hemisphere? For people in the southern hemisphere, maybe Australia, South Africa, Argentina, Brazil. I don't know if you guys have raspberries. I want to believe so. But you tell me. And you know, I find foraging quite soothing. With your own thoughts, you can relax. Some people probably would listen to music. Sometimes I listen to music while foraging, but sometimes I don't. Well, like no, obviously because I'm vlogging. But other times I will. And I love walking. And these are the best time to listen to music, because I can have an album on while walking for an hour or two. That's my pastime, walking. I love to walk. Maybe that's why foraging becomes so easy for me, because of that. I'm not big on jogging. I used to love it, but walking was always my favorite pastime. I could walk for hours. And not feel exhausted. I enjoy walking actually. How about you? Are you a big walker? Let's see. Okay, oh, we've got some on this side too. Make use of the option. So here we've got the stinging nettles. That's why I wear something like this, because it helps. Oh, here we've got some berries. Okay, raspberries. Foraging. Okay, I'm getting there. As you can see, my container is filling up nicely. Okay, I'll move on. This is a very long stretch, so I'm sure to fill this container at some point, hopefully. So this is what I mentioned earlier on about sometime where you've got raspberries that can't be accessible. Well, they are accessible, but for example, you might have raspberry at the edges down at the back there. Unless you approach it from the other side, which there's a fence at the moment, the golf club, the Duddingston Golf Club is just over there. You can hear people hammering away or golfing away. Someone will have to cut a path through to reach some of those raspberries. So more likely, the birds have it all to themselves in that case. And that's just how it works. However, if it was organized farming, there'd be various paths through the farming ground for people to reach the products. And it makes it a lot more efficient. So I'm big on farming. As long as it's done properly and it doesn't hurt the environment terribly. Well, it shouldn't, but sometimes, I don't know, what do you think about organized farming? Do you believe it's damaging the environment? I do believe in some case, depending on who is practicing farming. Some people want to think the larger farmers, the larger companies that do farming, they are more ruthless and they do more damage to the environment than others. I guess everybody have to work with discretion and consider protecting the environment while farming. Seeing that this method of food production has been as old as human being has been around. So it won't go away, but if I guess people are farming, they should protect the environment while doing so. So yes, raspberry farming, I'm up for it as long as it's done in an eco-friendly way. Yes, but we need farming still, because as you can tell with foraging, you cannot support a population the size of Britain on forage products. But it does serve as a way of exercise, getting especially children to start eating certain fruit and vegetables they wouldn't eat. Especially during spring when the wild garlic comes into play. You don't see wild garlic in the supermarket, and I always wonder why, but during the spring, that is in the UK. But that's just one thing I notice, where here's something edible and it's not available but in the supermarket. But this is where foraging can help to educate people to make use of edible stuff that's already out there in small portions. But I think it's more for the fun of it too, the fun of being in nature. I wouldn't say be one with nature, because it's not that you're worshiping nature. I'm not a worshiper of nature, no. But it's the idea of enjoying, you know, God's creation. Well, I believe from that perspective, but others might not. But regardless, it still helps people to de-stress in a nice environment, especially during summer with good weather. And even if it rains, put on your raincoat or jacket, and that's that. In the meantime, I look for signs of blackberries, because they'll be coming into play soon. Here are some more raspberries. As mentioned, they're all over the place at the moment, which is good. Dizproí, raspberry, yep, plenty around. Okay, here's some at the back. I am interested in reaching some of them at the back. There are some nice big ones, but most time people tend to just leave them. They can't be bothered to cut through. But I guess if I can stretch a little, I should be able to reach some. At least some of them. Oh! Look at those big ones. Oh. So this is a balancing act, because I don't want to drop my container. So all my hard work would have just been for nothing. So I have to be careful now. Oh, gosh. Good. So now I've got that. This wee bunch here, because it's falling off the Okay. Good. So there's still some at the front here. I'll just leave those ones. Okay. Good. All right. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can go on the other half of the path, which is just a few yards ahead, and I should be able to get some on that side too. But I believe the ones on that side, majority of them are a bit smaller, but I should be able to get one and two large ones. I'll see. Okay, so this is the second. I've just crossed the road and I'm going to start on the second part of the Innocent Railway path, our second section rather of the Innocent Railway path. And as you can see, it goes way up the road. Okay, so right along here there's a mixture of raspberries and blackberries. So already I can start to spot some of the raspberries. And later on I'll do a vlog about the blackberries once they're in season. This innocent path with blackberries, but for now it's about raspberries. Raspberry time, or Dizproí. There we go. This is nice. So there's a mixture of the usual small and medium sized ones. So what do I do with the raspberries? Most times, 90% of the times, I just eat them as they are, plain and simple, to maximize on obtaining, well, in maximizing in the obtaining of nutrients, because when they are eaten as they are, it's the best way of getting the nutrients that you need. But if I'm thinking of a secondary approach, now it's summer, I would probably use it for smoothies, for making cakes, raspberry cakes, but it's seeded cakes. So because the raspberries, like blackberries, have seeds, I don't de-seed them, I just bake them with the seed in it. So it's a seeded cake. Or jam. It's another secondary use for making jams, but also for making sauces, Oy'Nissh sauces, that I use to serve with cooked food. Yeah, but generally I just eat it raw to get most of the nutrients that's needed, because it's just best when it's raw, you know. So it works. Oh. So I think some people would prefer it with ice cream or with single cream. Well, I don't eat it with any. Sometimes I might eat it with a little ice cream. And take into consideration that I move around a lot during summer too, especially foraging. It's easy to burn off the calories that I would consume while eating ice cream. But also, I don't know, I've never tried it like for pie, a mixed berry pie. I've never done a mixed berry pie. I think it would work well as a mixed berry pie, maybe with blackberry. I don't know, I've never done it. But eating it raw, making smoothies, making cakes, sauces, jams. But 90% of the time, eating it raw. To maximize our nutrients intake. So So all these are blackberries. Just look at the amount of blackberries compared to raspberries that we've seen. Just so much blackberries. So it's going to be a cracker during the next couple of weeks. In August, the place is going to be flattened. Wait, blackberries. So hopefully I'll be coming up on some raspberries soon. Yeah. Right. Where are the raspberries? Where are the raspberries? So, as I notice sometimes when I do my vlog, there's a gap. Well, I tend to not edit out some of the part that doesn't actually involve picking fruits. So like now I've been walking for a few minutes with no raspberries inside. I still try to keep this on the vlog. I know it makes the video longer, but there's a purpose to it. It's the sort of encourage exercise. I know if I'm to edit out the video, this part of it, and goes directly to the next stage where I find the raspberries and start foraging, it sort of take away from the idea that along a particular path sometimes you have to walk a few minutes to reach the next section, which is part of the exercise process. So in most cases, when I do make videos now, I try and keep the entire foraging experience to its full length, because it gives a context in terms of the time period necessary for foraging in a particular location. So please bear with me if I don't edit out the time, and I keep it as real as it is, so it's more realistic. In the past, I used to just pick out the bits where I forage at the particular site, but never really include the walking distance. Sometimes that part is left out, and people don't realize that when you forage, walking is a big part of it. Well, if you're in a region where you cannot drive or cycle, here you can cycle, but I guess if you drive a car and park up somewhere, then you can now walk. And the walking part is just as important as the actual picking of the fruit. It constitutes part of the foraging process. So I don't leave it out, so you can get the picture. And also you can journey along with me to be a part of the experience in totality. And here I've arrived at some berries. These ones are collectively more smaller than the other, well, the other part of the innocent path. Now, I don't know about further up, but at least here I notice collectively they are smaller. So that means it will take you a lot more time to forage here, and there aren't as many. Maybe one contributing factor could be the availability of soil. That's what I deduced, the availability of soil. I think it's a lot more shallow here, and there are a lot more stones. On the other side, they probably have more earth, which contributes to larger raspberry, because it can hold the nutrients from the fall foliage, that with the nutrients seeping into the soil for next year, and all the organic activities going on, microorganic activities going on leading up to next year. Yeah, so here it's as thick as on the other side, but as I said, chances are it might be that there's not enough topsoil and they're quite smaller. No, I'm not saying this might be the case right along. I'm hoping that further on there's more depth in the soil, so I can get larger raspberries, but these ones are small. And I want to postulate that would be the same. This will be the same for the blackberries when in this area when they grow. So it seems I sense that this part of the innocent path isn't as productive as the other side, and the soil content have to do with it. Possibly the depth of the soil. Probably, yeah. Well, I haven't tested this hypothesis, but foraging for a while, I noticed wherever you've got shallow soil, nothing really grows properly. Well, I mean, it doesn't grow to its best potential. And that's what I'm seeing here. And you do have smaller raspberries on the other side, but you can see notable large ones here. Overall, they're all small, which leads to question if there's enough nutrients, enough soil here. Look. What seemed to be soil might be mixed with loads of rocks, I think. And I don't know if Let's. So here's a nice indicator. I don't know if because of the wall, after years of repair and whatever, some of the rocks are underneath here. I don't know. While on the other side, as you notice, it's all fenced with barbed wire, so that doesn't really take away surface area as the rocks. But I don't know. Someone will have to dig it up for me to see. But as you can see, this bit, nothing much. It's pretty much shallow. So it attributes to the lack of raspberry trees or blackberries. Nettles, yes. On that side, seem to fare better. Here we've got some too. It's not faring well on this side. So, just be mindful of when you're foraging along the innocent path, especially next month when the blackberries come into season, to be mindful of the bikers. So, I don't listen to music while I'm foraging because I'm actively engaged in the process, going into and out of bushes, and I want to make sure that I can hear what's behind me. Oh, here we've got some decent sized raspberries. So it's just that consideration while foraging, that you don't listen to well, if you're on a path like the innocent path, that is, you might be in a bushy area where you won't have that problem of bikers running you over, but along the innocent path in particular, it's recommended that you don't listen to music while you're foraging, because the space is quite narrow, the path is quite narrow, and when they're riding past this quickly, you want to be able to hear them so you can adjust where you're standing. Yeah. Okay, I'm getting some. They're small, but at least some. Sometimes you have to really go through the bush like this. The raspberries are hidden sometimes underneath stuff. You might not see a lot of surface raspberries, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't there. Sometimes you have to just push through the bush and you should be able to spot some. So that's what I have to be doing at the moment, just to make sure. In some areas you get a lot of them at the surface, which is ideal, but at other times you have to do like this. As you can see, they're available still, but you just have to part the bush a little bit and you're able to access them. So I'll leave the rest for someone else. So there's still quite a few. And just take a few from here. Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay. And maybe these two. No, that's not ready yet. Leave that for another few days yet. I take this one. Okay. So let's see what we've got so far. Okay. So this is what I've collected so far. Probably half the container. Foraging conservatively. Yeah. So this is foraging conservatively. No, just to be mindful. When foraging, obviously when you're taking up the fruits, chances are you'll have small insects on them because obviously it's foraging, you know. That's why when you go home you wash them. I know normally when people pick fruits and eat them directly like raspberries, they'll naturally look for any insects or so forth before they put it in their mouth. But I'm talking when you've got a container filled with it and you're planning on consuming it in a bowl. When you go home you'll wash it thoroughly. What I'll do is I'll steep it in water so some of the stuff float to the top, especially the insects. Yes, so don't be put off by this because in many cases insects are all over the farming world, except they use pesticides or insecticides to deter them. It's just a way of life when it comes to fresh produce. You always have other organisms competing for the food sometimes, so it's not unusual. But in the foraging world, normally when you're picking the stuff to eat straight away, make sure that you don't have any extra debris on it or insect before you put it in your mouth. However, if you've got a container like this, it's best to get a deep bowl and steep it in water a little bit so that the insects float to the top. You drain it off, then you start washing thoroughly, and then you're good to go. Now, my question is, will I find any more raspberries along the path? Because the path, as you can see, the tunnel is straight ahead. The path stops just underneath the tunnel, which there's none under the tunnel, no raspberries, but just before the entrance, I'm going to check to see if there's any. Morning. And this will conclude, hopefully, the foraging for raspberries, foraging for Dizproí along this path. Well, I have to say I don't see any more raspberries. Blackberries, yes, but no. So, I have concluded my foraging for raspberry or Dizproí along the innocent path. I just wanted to have a look at what I've collected so far. And the container is half, so I'll have to go to another location to forage for some. It doesn't mean that I couldn't have full the container along the path. It's just that I leave enough for others to forage for, because there are always people stopping by and picking and eating, so I didn't want to use up all of it or forage for all of it. So here we've got raspberry in the container, or Dizproí in Oy'Nissh. So thanks again for watching this foraging vlog. I hope that you enjoy it, and see you in the next one. Thanks.